Imagine a story that begins in the heart of a glittering city where wealth and power seem untouchable, yet one small act of kindness changes everything. If you're ready for a tale that will touch your heart and surprise you in ways you didn't expect, stay with me until the very end. And if you enjoy emotional stories like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories that inspire. The night was alive with the hum of expensive cars and dazzling lights outside the city's most luxurious hotel. Inside, servers rushed about, balancing trays of champagne and plates of exquisite food, their smiles carefully practiced to hide the exhaustion beneath. Among them was Aisha, a young waitress who worked double shifts just to keep up with rent and to send a little money back home for her ailing mother. She never complained, though. Her eyes carried a quiet strength, and her heart was far gentler than her circumstances. That evening, the hotel's grand ballroom was reserved for a high-profile charity event hosted by none other than Arman Khalid, the city's most powerful billionaire CEO. Known for his ruthless business decisions and cold demeanor, Arman rarely showed emotion in public. Guests whispered about his fortune, his private jets, his empire, but very few truly knew him. And fewer still knew that hidden from the world was his greatest treasure, his 8-year-old son, Zion. Zion was different from most children. He was on the spectrum, sensitive to loud noises and sudden movements, and he had difficulty communicating the way others did. To Arman, he was a precious soul, but to the public, Zion was a secret the CEO guarded fiercely. Arman feared judgment, pity, or worse, exploitation. So he brought his son to the event quietly, seating him at a private corner table with his nanny, hoping to let him experience the world just a little while staying safe. But the evening didn't go as planned. In the chaos of clinking glasses, laughter, and camera flashes, Zion became overwhelmed. The nanny, distracted by her phone, didn't notice his growing panic until it was too late. Zion slipped from his chair, covering his ears as tears welled in his eyes. Guests stared, some murmuring, others rolling their eyes, as if the child was misbehaving. That's when Aisha saw him. Her tray of drinks nearly toppled as she set it down and rushed toward the trembling boy. Kneeling beside him, she gently whispered, her voice calm and soothing, "It's okay, sweetheart. You're safe." She took off her apron and draped it like a little shield around him, blocking some of the harsh lights and curious stares. Slowly, she hummed a soft tune, her hand steady on his shoulder until his breathing began to ease. The room fell silent at the sight. Guests exchanged shocked glances. How dare a waitress step into such a moment? Yet, as they watched Zion cling to her like she was the only safe person in the room, something shifted. Arman had been across the hall, discussing with a board member, when he noticed the crowd's sudden hush. His eyes followed their gaze, and froze. There was his son, nestled against the arm of a waitress, while his nanny stood uselessly nearby. Anger shot through him at first, at the incompetence, at the audacity, but as he stepped closer, the sight softened him in a way he hadn't expected. Zion's tear-streaked face was slowly relaxing, and it wasn't because of him, the billionaire father who could buy the world. It was because of her. "Who allowed you?" Arman's sharp words caught in his throat when Zion looked up and tugged at Aisha's sleeve, refusing to let go. For the first time, Arman saw something he couldn't ignore. His son trusted this stranger. The guests held their breath, expecting him to lash out, to fire her on the spot. Instead, Arman's reaction stunned everyone. He knelt down beside them, lowering himself to the same level, his expensive suit brushing the polished floor. "Thank you," he said, his voice heavy with sincerity. "You've done what I couldn't in that moment." Aisha blinked in disbelief. She wasn't used to gratitude, especially not from men like him. "He just needed someone to notice," she replied softly, glancing at Zion, who had finally managed a small, shaky smile. That night became the turning point. Arman didn't let it end there. He insisted on speaking to Aisha privately, wanting to understand how she had calmed his son so easily. She explained that her younger brother had been the same, gentle, sensitive, often misunderstood, and she had learned to protect him in a world that rarely offered kindness. Her words touched Armin deeper than she could have known. For the first time in years, he felt like someone truly saw Zion for who he was, not as a problem to hide but as a child who deserved patience and love. Over the weeks that followed, Armin invited Aisha to spend more time with his son, under the guise of helping as a caretaker. The bond between them grew naturally. Zion laughed more, spoke more, and even braved public places without fear, always clinging to Aisha's hand. Armin watched quietly, his cold exterior slowly melting as he realized how much of life he had missed hiding in fear of judgment. But challenges soon arose. Some in Armin's circle questioned why a billionaire would let a waitress so close to his son. Rumors spread, and his board worried about scandal. Aisha herself faced criticism from co-workers who envied her sudden closeness to the CEO. Yet through every challenge, she remained grounded. She didn't care about wealth, titles, or rumors, only about the little boy who trusted her unconditionally. The final test came when a tabloid caught photos of Zion clinging to Aish.